Dear viewers, welcome back. You are watching Frankly Speaking. Our guest is Matthew L. Myers. He's the president and CEO of the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, and a U.S. organization. Mr. Myers, we're not surprised that the tobacco industry continues its marketing to the kids. They're targeted to the kids. The tobacco industry, in the statistics, we found that they loses 2 million smokers every year to death or quitting. And it must replace them in order to stay profitable, and that is their marketing strategy. So virtually no one becomes a smoker after age of 18, and almost 90% of regular smokers began at or before age 18. So to contain them at that stage, what is the most critical, the steps we can take?
The battle is over your children. Whether the tobacco industry will succeed in manipulating them into believing that smoking is cool, or whether or not the government will take the steps to better educate them and to prevent the tobacco industry from using colorful packaging and advertising around point of sale. This is one of those battles that's winnable, and was winnable without spending a lot of money. The enactment of legislation banning advertising, all forms of advertising, requiring strong warning labels, and eliminating smoking in all indoor places will make a dramatic difference.
Any punitive action can be taken? No.
Well,
because
I think the critical fact here is this is a battle for the hearts and minds of your kids. The tobacco industry will do whatever it can to lure your children into smoking. The government has the tools to reverse that trend. And the good news about tobacco is that it doesn't cost billions of dollars that governments don't have in order to succeed. It simply requires political will at the highest level.
There is overwhelming medical and scientific consensus that the cigarette smoking causes many diseases like lung cancer, heart disease, emphysema, and other serious disease. So, to projecting this, serious, deadly effect, horrific effect of smoking is also another tool.
It's a very important tool. This morning I met with several victims of tobacco, people who are suffering from oral cancer, who are in their mid-30s, who began chewing tobacco as young children. Tobacco doesn't just kill, it maims and causes untold suffering. That's what's really at stake here. My hope is that the government officials will listen to those voices more than the voices of the corporate executives from the tobacco industry.
Mr. Myers, do you think the lack of government regulation or oversight of the tobacco industry leaves consumers uninformed and at risk?
Absolutely. There is no question about it that many of the people in your country, particularly women who use smokeless tobacco and children, are unaware of the health effects of tobacco use, and they're certainly unaware of the fact that chewing tobacco is a major cause of oral cancer. There's a reason that Bangladesh has one of the highest rates of oral cancer in the entire world, and it's directly related to the use of smokeless tobacco. Better education and preventing the smokeless tobacco industry from marketing to your children can change that trend.
What is the level of degree of awareness in your country, the young kids?
Through public education, not just in the United States, but in wealthier countries around the world, young people are much more informed about the health effects of smoking. Equally, they're much better protected against the tobacco industry's marketing. We have seen tobacco use rates among Bangladesh children rise in recent years, and the result of it is directly related to tobacco industry marketing, cheap prices, and the very ineffective warning labels on your current products.
It sounds very alarming.
It is alarming. It's truly a matter of life and death, but the good news is strong political will and action could change that.
You have made already remarkable progress in fighting and dealing with this problem, but what is our future?
Your future depends on what your politicians do. It's truly a matter of if your politicians have the political will to enact the policies and programs that we know work here, then they can save literally millions of lives. Indeed, years ago they committed to doing it when they signed the international treaty, the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. The the measures that we're talking about now will simply live up to their international obligations.
So what is your message? You are currently visiting Bangladesh. So what are the messages you are trying to extend to the people of Bangladesh and the political leaders?
I think it's a very simple message, and that is the actions that they take today and whether or not they pass a strong tobacco control legislation will have a direct effect on the number of your citizens who die prematurely from cancer, heart disease, and other diseases caused by tobacco.
If I ask you to define the financial losses of this problem, how would you define that? There's a lot of problems around that: financial, physical, mental, familial, but cumulatively, what the extent of the losses?
You're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars in treating diseases that don't have to happen. And most important, you're talking about a cure that costs virtually nothing.
I hope that through your visit and the meetings you have had with our ministers and other stakeholders in Bangladesh, a lot of awareness and political will be on, and we'll move forward to fight this menacing problem.
I hope so, and I'm optimistic. Today I said to the health minister I would love to come back a year from now with a new strong law in effect and seeing fewer young people starting to smoke.
Thank you very much, Mr. Matthew Myers.
Thank you
for joining us on our show.
My pleasure.
Yeah, my pleasure indeed. Dear viewers, we thank you indeed, and we request to watch our next episode. Until then, to take care and goodbye.